Welcome back, everyone, to day one of the North American Challenger Series Summer Split. We'd like to welcome back Optimist Tom to the desk.
We would. Quite an intense game, too, you guys had there. I'm a little jealous I wasn't in here for it, but I could hear this stuff all the way from the back room.
Yeah, it was a very exciting match. But now we're jumping series, and we're going to be picking up with Game 2 between Dream Team and Eanix. Now, Game 1 went to Dream Team, who capitalized off an early dragon fight early in the game, and then snowballed their way to victory.
It wasn't all good for Dream Team, though. At the beginning of the game, Eanix actually executed a lane swap, and 2 of Dream Team wound up dying to a tower in that, but it did set up a swap back for this 3-4-0 dragon fight.
Yeah, and obviously a pretty bad fight there. As Dream Team is able to get the 3-4-0, as you said, and able to pick up another kill on the back end there. But tell us a little bit more about the state of the game. What was it that kind of went so wrong there early on?
Well, for Dream Team, even though they wound up dying during the lane swap and 2 of their bot lane duo actually wound up being executed to the tower, or the minions behind the tower, the swap back from Eanix, they thought they could capitalize on it, but Dream Team were able to collapse, as you saw in that Dragon Pit fight, and things kind of snowballed in their favor from there. They had a double teleport composition. They were utilizing Gnar and Lysandra as their split pushers, and eventually, after taking a Baron buff, they were able to execute a 1-3-1.
Yeah, very solid composition. Now we have another replay in which Eanix get a little overzealous.
Yeah, so here we do have Lucian looking for a bit of a 1v1 onto the Gnar there, but Kindred actually dropping the ultimate ends up helping out the Gnar, who's able to really get into Mega Gnar, get that HP back, and is able to kind of just kite away until it looks like his team is going to be able to go top lane. They're pushing in, and they just overchase so heavily on the Gnar. They commit so much for this that it's going to cost them not only the kill, but the inhibitor turret as well. And when you make those collapses, it's a tough call because you have to be very decisive. You have to be able to pull the trigger right away, kill that guy off. There's obviously some miscommunication there with the Kindred ulti kind of helping out the Gnar, Lucian flashing out. And Kindred is one of those champions you have to be so careful with, how you use those ultimates, because he's kind of like Tom Kench and other champions like that, where if you use the ability poorly, it actually hurts your team. It's not just, not a net positive, it's a negative.
Yeah, and Dream Team from that point forward, after they executed that 1-3-1, they took that top lane inhibitor, as you guys saw in that replay. They wound up securing themselves an Elder Dragon, which then they transferred into a second Baron buff, and slowly but surely, well, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, well, once again, Tom, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to dismiss you as we get ready to get into this. It sounds so bad when I say it like this. You're coming back.
I'll be back. Don't worry.
Okay.
My feelings are only a little bit hurt, but there's some awesome League of Legends.
It's temporary.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and head into Champion Select. After that Game 1 win, let's actually hear from Dream Team's mid laner, Wolf, on what he brings to the squad.
I bring pretty much a lot of control during the game. I don't really play that many assassins, but I mean, they aren't that good right now, but I pretty much control the game through my playstyle and make sure that my team can pretty much do whatever they need to do to win.
Yeah, Wolf hopefully bringing quite a bit more towards his team with that sort of control. We'll see if he can do it once again in this next match.
Yeah, control mages obviously fantastic right now, but assassins still have their place. We've seen some Fizz in the LCS. We just saw a LeBlanc game where Golden Blue went off. So, assassins definitely are not too shabby either.
Yeah. Well, before we jump into Champion Select, let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Dream Team. In the top, it's Charong. In jungle, Acadian. Mid laner, who we just heard from him, it's Wolf. AD carry Massacre, and their support, Papa Chow.
And on the red side, it's Eanix. We have K3 Soju in the top lane. Hopefully I'm saying that right. We got Sword Race in the jungle. Popper's OP in the mid lane. Impactful and Nisker are going to be your bot lane duo.
Yeah, so we'll see if they can take this into a successful Game 2, because right now in the standings, Team Liquid Academy and Cloud9 Challenger are tied 1-1.
Yeah.
Starting this week off with a 2-0 ahead of Cloud9 Challenger is probably going to be a huge moral boost. And I guess even ahead of Team Liquid Academy at this point, if they can show they can beat it.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you always want to get those early points, pick up as many as you can to try to have that advantage going towards the playoffs, get the best placements you can get. But obviously, it is pretty frightening when people are so scared of the C9 team, and we already see TLA can compete. So
Yeah.
It's another adversary for these teams that they're going to have to say, hey, how do we stack up against these guys?
Yeah, this is a very competitive split of Challenger, so we're hoping to see some more exciting action. Now, we have entered picks and bans for Game 2, as you can see on your screen, and Vladimir and Trundle going to be banned away, Twitch banned away as well, Fizz, rather stable ban so far, banned in all 3 of the games we've seen on 6-11.
Fizz becoming a bit of a mainstay and competitive. We
Yeah.
saw Ray put on a clinic with it,
Oh,
the LCS, that was pretty scary. If I was someone watching that game, I'd say, nope, never again, not playing it.
Don't take your chances playing against it, but Zyra banned away along with Nidalee.
Kindred, though, is left up. I would not be surprised to see him get nabbed. It is 6-11, and there's a lot more emphasis on picking up bounties now. That's kind of the thought process behind the changes. Kindred must collect a lot of bounties to get back to power neutral from the previous patch.
Yeah.
And bounties are obviously something that can be pretty difficult to collect in pro play, which generally tends to favor lower kill games.
Now we'll see if anyone decides to go for the Kindred this time around, as it was taken
Karma.
in the previous game. Now, Karma has just been locked in.
Yeah, Karma, obviously, very strong laning support. They're scaling into late game. It does kind of fall off as you get less out of levels generally from Karma than you do on other champions, simply because you don't have that kind of crazy level 6 power spike. The ultimate is already baked into the kit, but it does give you very, very good laning pressure. You can harass your opponents out of the jungle, as we saw Lemon do in that previous game, kind of chase down that double jungle squad, be very annoying with them. But for Eanix, Kindred's still up on the table. Guys like Rise, who have been mainstay bans, are up there. We do have a lot of options, Lucian, Echo, etc. A lot of these power picks from the previous patch, at least, have been available. And it's something that we haven't seen too much changes so far in these picks and bans.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's going to be Lucian Nami locked in for Impactful and Nisker. Previously Evaniscus, so returning Challenger player. We'll see if he can succeed after his short break.
Nami, a champion that is also darn good in lane, especially when paired with the Lucian. You can allow Lucian to dash forward. Lucian has a very easy 3-hit paradigm. You use your E buff. Ebb and Flow is actually the heal, so I don't know what the E is called. But anyway, actually, applies that additional magic damage, makes your trades very powerful. If you can get the W heal bounce, heal up your Lucian, do some additional damage to them. Very, very good. I also think that Nami has a pretty solid lane against Karma specifically, because Karma, although you have damage prevention with the shields, you do not have the damage recovery. You can't heal your AD carry back up.
So we'll see how that trading works out, if it is going to be a dual lane or if we do see a lane swap by chance. As Ashe and Maokai are now locked in for Dream Team. That Maokai going to Charong in the top lane, and Ashe going to Massacre.
Yeah, so Maokai is a very strong champion, has a lot of clear strengths. Some of the weaknesses are a bit more obvious now, as the laning phase should be weaker in this patch. Obviously, still going to have amazing TP flanks, has fantastic frontlining, team fighting. Ashe as well as a champion that has been raising in stock, especially with kind of fall of Lucian a little bit this patch. It's a champion that Wild Turtle, Sneaky, a lot of different guys are playing. LCK, it's hugely popular, has fantastic initiation, good mid game and okay late game scaling. So there's a champion you definitely have to watch out for. And the Ashe Arrow initiation is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, this is something we actually heard from Fabi when we were talking about him in our interview, was the rise of AD carries in patch 6.11. So Ashe making a comeback, already very strong. In addition to that, though, Eanix looks like they're going to opt for Gragas and Gnar.
Yeah, so interesting. We did see Charong, I believe, playing the Gnar last time around in that replay. So taking it away from him this time, and Gnar is something that is a lane bully. It's this range champion. You have the percent HP damage. It's very, very irritating to deal with. Black Cleaver getting buffed is also something that's pretty nice for Gnar. You can go these kind of 1v1 builds where you go Cleaver. You can get the Iceborne Iceborne
Gauntlet?
Mallet. The Mallet. Frozen Mallet.
Frozen Mallet.
I always say like them.
Iceborne Mallet.
Yeah, exactly. But the Frozen Gauntlet, or Frozen Mallet, with the Black Cleaver is definitely a powerful combination. It allows you to kite, allows you to have armor shred, CDR. It's very, very good in the 1v1s. Some people also do prefer to just go full-on team fight with their Gnar, build Randuin, Spear Visage, etc. And then you have a lot of punches you do get in there. You're very tough to take out. Always have that potential for the huge ultimates.
Yeah, a lot of variety out of what we're expecting from K3 Soju.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he decides to go for in terms of build. Now, Dream Team, on the other hand, they've locked in their mid laner and their jungler. Peekenwolf going towards that safe Victor. And in the jungle, Acadian looks like he's going to be taking that Graves.
Yeah, so Graves definitely still a champion that has hung around, has been hit with quite a few nerfs, but it's always powerful because he brings, something that the other melee junglers do not bring. You have safe wave clear, which is really, really impactful. You also have the ability to join these kind of pushes or to show up in a lane, help shove it in, get damage on turrets. Ranged junglers are something that always are going to have a baseline level of effectiveness. They're always going to be able to contribute to team fights, whether behind or ahead. It's kind of just something that's very consistent. You can farm well, you can add team fight damage. And the other side of things, we are going to see the Gragas jungle picked up. So Kindred falling completely through the picks and bans.
Yeah,
it's progress.
Surprising. Final pick for Eanix was LeBlanc for Popper's OP. So Peekenwolf in his pregame actually said, Assassins maybe not so strong right now.
Yeah.
Well, this is the second one in a row. That
Maybe he was watching the Golden Glue game.
Yeah,
he had on a side monitor where I was playing game number 1. It's like, damn, that looks good.
Yeah, this is a great idea.
Yeah.
So LeBlanc is going to be locked in for Eanix as they round out their composition. Dream Team looking to take this series 2-0, but Eanix, pretty strong composition to take it back 1-1.
Yeah, definitely a very good composition. And, Gragas is an explosive early ganker, especially with the Body Slam Flash. Almost impossible to react to. That in combination with some pretty solid lanes should give them the ability to try to make something happen early on. But it'll be interesting to see how it's going to go.
Yeah, certainly will be. Now, stay connected with us on Twitter and let us know how you think these games will go with hashtag DTWin or hashtag ENX We'll tally those votes with our Caster Minion production crew. Or no, they're the Cannon Minions. That's right. The Cannon Minion production crew. And we'll tally those votes as we get ready for this next game.
Yep. So pretty exciting stuff. A lot of variety coming out here as far as some of the different builds that the Gnar can go. Very interested to see how he's going to build, if he's going to build for the 1v1, Hex Drinker, things like that, Frozen Mallet, etc. So people definitely have a lot of different opinions on how the champion should be played, and it can be reactive based on how the game goes. Gragas as well, is a champion that can go full tank, tanky AP, even pretty AP heavy. That is obviously less common, but they have some options here, and I'm pretty excited to see it. Nami even picking up that early aggressive summoner with that ignite, and they are going to try to look to meet up in this 2v2 and really put the hurt on this Ashe.
Yeah, we'll see if Dream Team are able to avoid it or if, in fact, they decide to play into it. As we have gotten into game number 2 between Dream Team and Eanix, game number 1, we heard from Tom a little bit earlier, went Dream Team's favor. They controlled the neutral objectives during the mid to late game, and we'll see if they can do something similar with the strong composition. Double Arrow is going to hit Eanix for the first set of damage in this game number 2.
Gotta assert that dominance.
Yeah,
let them know what's
the
up.
Little things. It's the little things.
Yep.
It's like when you drive to work and all of the traffic lights are green. It's the little things.
That's not a little thing. That's great.
Oh,
that
yeah,
sets
in
me up
Los
for
Angeles?
a fantastic day. That's like a 1 in a million, It's like
yeah.
you just found a unicorn or something. Like, you gotta cash in on that. Appreciate it.
Okay, so maybe that was a bad example.
Yeah. So we do see that it looks like we're gonna have standard lanes across the board. And although we kind of joke about the Ashe, we do see that Eanix gets that information. They're able to see that the Ashe will be in that bot lane, and it allows them to have the confidence that they're going to get those matchups. And I think that, honestly, for Eanix, this is pretty key, because I really do feel that Gnar into Maokai, that should be an advantageous matchup for that Gnar, assuming it's a 1v1. Obviously, junglers can disrupt this. And in the 2v2, I also like the Lucian Nami over this Ashe combo.
We'll see how this duo lane performs, as they are going to actually get the opportunity to start off with a camp. Impactful gets some experience. And Dream Team had to split their experience with the jungler, giving that over to Acadian. It's not quite getting the advantage, but Dream Team will be able to shove this lane in, and in fact do have a bit of a lane advantage with all of the harass Massacre is putting out with Papa Chow.
I mean, definitely harass was a big part of it, but I also think this is one of the reasons you don't see dual lanes take the camps as much anymore. They actually took so much damage from the Gromp there, as Nami Lucian is not exactly like a bomb combo to take down the Gromp, and the Gromp is very frightening, so they're kind of looking the worst for wear there in the bot lane as a result of that. But as we talked about, Nami is a sustained support, so they can heal back up, and they're going to be fine. As long as they pick up most of the CS under the turret, they're going to be A-okay.
Yeah, it seems like Impactful is having a bit of a difficult time catching any minions because of all of the harass that Dream Team's duo is putting out.
It is being pushed in, though, so not a big deal that he hasn't gotten them just yet. Oh, pretty cheeky there from Papa Chow. Actually shields up the minion to deny it from Impactful.
Ooh, gank in the top lane as it looks like K3 Soju flashes. Red buff is ticking. This is a very aggressive play. And Acadian lets him go. Yeah,
he does cost him the flash, and he is going to be able to have the TP, so he shouldn't miss too much of the CS as it's going to be pushed in towards him, but I definitely don't want to be losing that flash early on. And Popper's OP, and we do see Pekin Wolf, a pretty nice trade there, and Popper's OP actually distortion back into the second part of that E, which allowed Pekin Wolf to kind of even up that trade.
Yeah, proccing the Thunderlords. Make sure it is an even trade between the two as they continue to farm it out in the mid lane. Shorter Ace, in fact, is going to invade, goes over the wall and finds
He's in trouble.
Acadian. He immediately regrets that decision. Acadian burning through his health nice and quick. Shorter Ace, he was at full health.
Yeah, good rotation actually comes in from Popper's OP to bail him out. Otherwise, Shorter Ace could have been chased down, but now we're actually starting to see a bit of a lane advantage as far as this 2v2 trading goes, because they are starting to kind of poke them out, and they are going to have a very aggressive lane in this Lucian Nami, and with Ignite available, if you get too low, you're going to have to be very worried about that. But for now, still doing pretty well. The Ashe is up a couple CS, and Karma's being very annoying.
Yeah, just keep on trading out as much as you can. So far, Eanix's duo, we're 5 minutes in now. They've been having trouble basically this entire time, but they are keeping up in CS as mentioned, just not quite so much in health. And slowly but surely, the mana pool of Nisker dwindles down as he tries to heal Impactful back up time and time again. Great presence of mind in the lane from Massacre and Papa Chow.
Yeah, one of the annoying things about Nami when you're kind of getting pushed back like this is you want to be able to bounce the heal basically to an enemy and then back to your ally. You want to be able to get the two part of it. You want the damage and the healing. And when you're shoved in and your Lucian's low, you just have to use the heal on him, so you're getting a lot less out of it.
Yeah, not quite a fair trade. Poppers is going to look for a remarkably good trade onto Pekin Wolf. Not quite dropping the gravity field in time to trade back more effectively and sort of attempt to dissuade some of the damage. Looks like they might be setting up a dive onto Enix's duo lane.
Race is here, though.
There's a huge bubble followed up. First blood as they're able to drop Impactful. Charong, oh man, makes it out of the turret range in time.
Wow, that was an explosive early fight. Shorter Ace was able to land a beautiful double body slam flash, and the bubble was there too, but Impactful was just too low, and a quick collapse from DT. They're able to take him out.
Yeah, they certainly are. And that's going to be the first kill of the game over to Dream Team. They took game number 1. Now they've taken the first kill in game number 2. Probably going to be feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, the worst part about it is that this was a wave that was building up for a long time and was shoved into the turret. So not only does Lucian die, but he actually is down 15 CS.
Oh, the Chaos Storm is dropped. Flash is used by Poppers as he doesn't want to take any chance. Oh, you can see the new Chaos Storm zapping the minions rather effectively.
And that feels bad as LeBlanc as well, who, you know, you're the guy without TP. You're not supposed to be getting bullied here. You have the Ignite, and he really wants to make something happen here. And here comes Shorter Ace.
Ooh, Flash is used. Pekin Wolf dodges the body slam. And Poppers is not able to follow up without any mana, so Pekin Wolf escapes with his life.
One nice thing, though, for the top lane here from Eanix is that because Strong did TP down to bot line, the Maokai actually fell down pretty heavily on CS. And whoa, what is Maokai doing? He's actually looking for the dive, but he's taking so much damage from the turret. They're all here, though.
He had the rest of his team there, but he just got a little overzealous. No, the snare locks him down on top of the smoke screen. Acadian and the rest of Dream Team collapse. Keep Jerome safe.
Yeah, they keep him safe, and they're going to deny a huge wave once again. So a bit of a tragedy here for Eanix as the Gnar is going to lose all the CS right after. Lucian actually missed out a lot, so Impactful and K3 going to be pretty disappointed about that, especially from how messy of a dive that was. You know, Chirong just kind of went in and barely lived. If K3 Zodra was actually able to hit him with like one more spell, he would have got that kill for free. And I really feel like he probably should have just tried to stay under the turret, look for the outplay, use that turret to his advantage, and look for a big Gnarl, do something. But when you chase away from the turret like that, it pretty much seals your demise.
Yeah, once again, we can see K3 Soju gets good damage, and then he gets optimistic, like, hey, look at that low health champion that I can kill.
Yeah, and I mean, they're closing in. He was probably dead regardless, but it's got to be a frustrating feeling. 4-man collapse in the top lane and watching all those precious minions go to waste.
Ooh, Shorter Race on the invade is spotted out. They will collapse onto Acadian. He's locked against the wall. Ignite
Shorter Race missed the Q.
But Shorter Race dies to Peek and Wolf. There's a tidal wave as there goes a lot of damage. K3 Soju tries to stun Chirong, who gets revenge, but a double kill for Chirong, and Dream Team completely counteract this dive out of Eanix.
What was that on a Shorter Race? I mean, he basically just dropped his barrel on his feet. All he needed to do was click on Acadian with that Q. It would have at least been the one kill, but instead he actually just kind of drops it on his feet, dives, and they get nothing. So it is going from bad to worse here from Eanix.
Yeah, currently 4 kills in favor of Dream Team, nearly 2,000 gold, 8 minutes in. They've got to be feeling pretty good about these advantages that they're accumulating, and we're starting to see some pretty stark differences in how these guys are building. BF Sword completed first by Massacre, whereas Impactful looks like he's still going to go back towards that Yomu's build, as he does have the Jolters and a Serrated Dirk.
Yeah, so he will be building towards that. One of the biggest problems here is this Victor is getting very ahead. I mean, he was already up farm, and then he has 2 kills for himself too. And Victor is going to be an absolute teamfight monster, and the LeBlanc needs to keep pace, if not stay ahead. It's going to be tough for LeBlanc to have the same kind of contributions if you're not really snowballing.
We'll keep our eye on Poppers to see if he can try to shut down Peek and Wolf. And it looks like Dream Team might be setting up for yet another dive. There goes a smoke screen. Shorter Race is prepared to come over the wall, but Dream Team looks like they're content to take their second turret of the game in answer.
Yep, Massacre now has his arrow available once again. Probably going to look to initiate. I mean, if they stay with this 2-man squad trying to defend, with Ash ult available, they could theoretically go for the dive, but I think they're going to try to play it safe, back off, maybe pick themselves up, first dragon of the game.
Would be very good for Team Dream Team, as Chirong is going to catch this minion wave on the top side. Impactful and Nisker are trying to make something worth this turret trade, but it's just not able to break through that Maokai's wave clear.
Yeah, Maokai, the 2 early Doran's rings, going to give him enough mana to continuously wave clear that out. Has a Balmy Cinder as well, and quite a lot of levels under his belt. But here comes Shorter Race.
Huge cast, knocked all of Dream Team into the turret. Acadian is going to soak a few hits for Papa Chow, but that leaves Impactful on his own against the tank Maokai. There goes the calling, but Flash directly adjacent to it. The one weakness of Lucian turning while firing his ultimate. But, Acadian is looking for the cleanup.
Still have heal on Impactful. We'll see if he can make the outplay. Looking like,
oh, yes he can, but the burn is ticking. Not enough.
Yeah, and Impactful does have to blow the heal, so Acadian able to get over there, not able to collect the kill. Impactful will get it alive, but being pushed in once again here, and the fights do seem to be going consistently in GG's way.
Ooh, whoa! Poppers. That is a lot of damage. Oh, Poppers is able to distort out just before the tick of that damage.
He is showing just no respect to the Victor, and this guy is strong. Got to be careful. Yeah. He's walking up to him and going to eat a lot of the burst, trying to clear out a ward, and I don't know if he was just kind of not paying attention or didn't realize how much damage he could take, but this turret's gone.
Yeah, that's 3 Tier 1 turrets taken in 12 minutes for Dream Team as they are putting some serious pressure on the map, and Eanix are not able to compete with it. 12 minutes in, Eanix starting to fall just a bit behind as they are having difficulty keeping pace with Dream Team, making aggressive plays in just about all of their lanes.
Yeah, this is honestly a pretty substantial lead at this point. They're, you know, closing in on 4,000 gold behind at 12 minutes is actually pretty brutal, especially when you consider the fact that DT did not have the lanes that was supposed to be winning. They're supposed to be losing the top lane, losing the bot lane.
Oh.
Impactful's going to get caught.
Yeah, he dodges the arrow. He's still taking quite a bit of damage, runs to his team instead of to his turret, and that ends up saving his life as Shorter Ace soaks a few arrows that had Impactful's name on it.
One of the big differences, though, between this game and the one we saw previously, you know, with TLA is that DT is actually picking up the objectives off of every kill, right? They're up only 4 kills, but they have a massive lead, and that is because they're capitalizing on it constantly. They're pushing up the wards that they have, getting the vision, allowing themselves to make these aggressive plays and really just kind of bully Eanix out of there.
Yeah, they are trying to steal away the red buff. They're not successful.
No, they got it.
Oh, Acadian did get it, yes. So again, just taking these objectives, secure turrets, invade in the jungle, deny Eanix as much as possible. And Poppers. Oh, he did actually get that Gromp, but is forced to use his distortion. It's 2v4 right now, but they're buying enough time for Massacre to farm it up. And Acadian is undaunted. This guy doesn't even care that there are champions here. He says, this is your jungle? Nope, I made this. This is mine.
He does have his team in support. Everyone's around there. They have the vision. So he's allowed to make these kind of plays because his team is stronger right now and they know exactly where their opponents are.
Yeah, half the health on the top tier 2 is removed as Dream Team gets some good pressure. Pekin Wolf with a Negatron Cloak. Relatively safe from Popper's OP, but that's not going to stop Poppers from trying if he finds the opening. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Chirong has been farming to his heart's content, and K3 Soju has been forced to match it as he's just been trying to answer this split push Maokai. Double teleport available for both of them. Chirong doesn't have his flash, but still feeling rather safe.
Chirong is definitely in an advantageous position because, once again, it's all about the vision, right? They have all these wards in the top lane. He knows, hey, there's the Nami. Hey, there's the Lucian. Who else could be away? Oh, I saw the jungler too, right? There's nothing really to be worried about because they have eyes on almost everyone on the team. So he can play pretty aggressively as far as that goes. And Gnar is building, you know, this kind of split push 1v1 type build. He's going for the Cleaver. Cleaver into tank is very standard as well, so it's not necessarily just like a pure split push build or anything. But as Gnar, it feels pretty bad when you're building damage, or really as any champion, when you are building damage and you're going for that 1v1 type style. But you're being outpaced by the tank because when Maokai has the Sunfire, he has the Ninja Tabbies as well. He's very hard to push around, and because he didn't get the Black Cleaver early enough, he's really not going to be able to take that much advantage of it.
Yeah, very unfortunate for K3 Soju, but Dream Team continue to look to press their advantage. They're currently taking the Cloud Drake solo. There's some assistance from Pekin Wolf after stealing away the blue buff of Eanix. Now that's 2 large buffs secured. As now Dream Team increased mobility, 15 bonus move speed on top of an already very mobile team from what we've seen them playing. They are completely controlling the map right now, and Eanix are just struggling to keep pace.
Yeah, the gold lead is just expanding. It's 4.5k already at 16 minutes, and this is a squad that if they do get a lead, it's a very simple plan. You group as 5 and you kill the opponents.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward stuff. You have a Maokai, you have the way in with the Ashe initiation, speed up your Maokai with that Karma, and then you have the backline threat. You got 280 carries as well as a fed Victor. It's very straightforward stuff for DT. They have a game plan. The early game has gone heavily in their favor, and it's Eanix that are going to have to get creative. They're the ones that have the pressure on them to make stuff happen. You know, it's LeBlanc that has to find picks. It's Gnar that has to carve himself out an advantage from behind against this Maokai and start, you know, bullying him, start pushing him in and trying to get chip on the turrets, but they just have not been able to do it.
Well, one of the big things standing in the way of making those plays is the vision. Dream Team have not been lax in their pressure. Not only are they controlling side waves, but they're also controlling the jungles themselves. Shorter race, oh, he flashes, but he's still in line with the arrow. Flash to get out of the tidal wave, as it looks like Jurong is going to go in. Pekinwolf is going to drop K3 Soju, and Dream Team dive and pick up a kill.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Gnar TPing into the middle of the enemy team with no tank items. What do you expect? He's going to get popped completely. Jurong answers it, and the Maokai at this point in the game is much more explosive. He has the instant teamfight effectiveness. He throws down the W, roots up the Gnar. Gnar is not able to do anything, dies right away. And, you know, unless you're coming in there with a full Gnar bar and you're able to get the flank and land that big ult, you're not going to be able to do much of anything. This guy is paper right now, and it is a fed Ashe. It is a fed Victor. These guys are very strong, and they're outpacing their opponents heavily.
Yeah, Dream Team controlling the game completely. Now going to be looking for this Rift Herald, and they found it. It was in the pit. And they're even going to give the buff over to Jurong. So 18 minutes he takes it. That's going to last until 38 minutes. He was already having a pretty good time split pushing against that Gnar. Well, now he's got an even better time.
It's really smart. Just give it over to the Maokai, delay the Gnar's, you know, split push kind of advantage even further into the game. You know, at what point does this guy, if ever, actually carve himself out that 1v1 advantage now? And it's going to be tough because, you know, even if he does build up these kind of 1v1 items and eventually can maybe get to a point where he can 1v1 the Maokai, it's probably going to be too late in the game. And he has a 20-minute window now where he's going to have the advantage simply from that buff. Plus, he already has a lot of armor. He's building up his CDR and his mana pool now. This is going to be a very hard-to-move tree.
Yeah, red buff now secured by Impactful 18.5 minutes in. Finally, Eanix have some semblance of control over their own jungle. As the pressure is not going to stop, Dream Team continues shoving in the top lane despite taking the top tier 2, trying to keep Impactful occupied, while Pekinwolf farms to his heart's content. Ooh, the chain is going to miss. The arrow finds Poppers. There's a snare afterwards. Papa Chow is at low health. Flashes to get out of the snare, but Pekinwolf joins in. He looks for and drops the ultimate, but it does not have enough to kill Poppers. And it looks like, oh, he did get the 20 gold from killing that clone. Hits the little things, and now the mid-tier 2 is going to drop 5 turrets to 0. Shorter Race is looking for the cast. He's found a lot of damage onto Massacre. There's going to be some more follow-up, but Pekinwolf manages to get another kill. A kill finally goes the way of Eanix, but it's a meager consolation prize to what Dream Team has taken.
Yeah, good job from Soju, though, getting in there, lands the nice ult onto the Ashe before he could flash, takes him down. So they do pick themselves up that consolation prize, but they're going to lose tier 2 mid. Now they're going to lose that tier 2 bottom lane, and this gold lead is just ballooning. They're going to be up 9, almost 10K after this does go down, and this is getting very, very rough. It's so hard to come back from a gold lead like this against a team fighting team, and, you know, DT is just looking so aggressive. They're looking so confident. And they have these builds. They're building for the late game. And it all started out, you know, with this kind of 2v1 type play that turns into the 2v2. And Papa Chow is getting very aggressive, almost goes down, but is able to stay alive. And Pekinwolf tries to go for the execute, not able to get Popper's OP, but their mid laner is out of the fight. The Victor is still healthy, and this is going to give them a mid lane turret.
Yeah, the tier 2 drops along with another one. 6 turrets to 0 when it's all said and done. Here comes Shorter Race finding that awesome cask, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, Gnar able to Mega Gnar out here. Lands the nice 3-man ult. That was huge, but guess what, buddy? Your whole team's still dead, so
yeah.
They're not really able to capitalize. Thankfully for him, he does at least pick himself up a kill on the Ashe. It's something, and they're going to need to keep getting, you know, little advantages like that. They need to pick up kills wherever they can and try to do their very best to fall back into this game.
And it certainly is a challenge. Pekinwolf now chases forward and zones Poppers away. Doing some serious damage there as Dragon is about to spawn in 10 seconds. This is going to be a Mountain Drake now for Dream Team, which is pretty big for them, considering how much priority they put on the neutral objectives in game 1. Well, now they're up 6 turrets to 1. Now they're up 2 dragons to 0.
Certainly, it's big, and it's going to allow you to get that Baron even easier. It's going to allow you to siege even better. So it's definitely fantastic, and it's objective-based gaming that's going to allow them to have an even better time at closing out this game, because they have a massive lead already. And when you're 10,000 or so gold up at 22 minutes, if you can pick up a Baron to boot, that's usually curtains for the opposing team. That's going to give them the ability to really push in and try to, go for the jugular, try to get that finishing blow and take down some inhibs.
Yeah, right now Dream Team have got the whole game in their hands, looking to start this series off as the first team in the summer split to go 2-0 and earn those 3 points. We'll see if they can do that. And a step ahead of current favorites, Cloud9 Challenger and Team Liquid Academy after keeping pace with them. So things looking very good for Dream Team. They're looking very confident in this one now, continuing to farm it out. 22, 23 minutes into the game, 9,000 gold lead. Impactful fights for reward.
Got to fight for everything at this point. You got to look for whatever little advantages you can get. They do not want to give up vision. They need to control their side of the jungle and try to do their very best to maintain at least that as the last bastion, because if they give up all the jungle farm on top of being behind already, the gold lead just bleeds out more and more and more. So they're trying to really hold on to everything that they can. But looking at the items, across the board, this is an IE Hurricane Ashe to Impactful, who just basically has a Ghost Blade and pieces of a Cleaver. So, he has the more expensive items and he's ahead in items. So it's very, very rough.
In trying to clear a ward and aggro the dragon, it seems as though Eanix have inspired.
He stole it!
Shorter Ace is actually able to steal the dragon away from Dream Team, but I don't think they want this ensuing fight. You talked about every little thing they can do to get themselves back into it. That's a pretty big thing.
It's a really big one, and it's going to give some time here for Eanix. And wow, Acadian almost gets popped there by poppers, but we'll see if Eanix can actually clean up anything else off the map from this. If they can, get their split push going, pick up some turrets, collect some of that gold, they could be right back in it, where this would have been probably a death blow had Acadian actually been able to secure that. So absolutely massive by Shorter Ace, even gets out with his life.
Very good play from Eanix. They now have got a lot of time.
Impactful
O is chasing and is forced to burn the flash. Little overextended. He still does have his Rift Herald buff for another 14 minutes. It's only been 6 since he last received it. But here's that play once again.
Yeah, so here is that replay, and Baron gets aggroed, and DT says, you know what? Thanks, we'll do it. Yeah. They do get it pretty low, but this is honestly something where you need to have more patience with this as the pro team. When you see that cast come in, that's where you stop hitting the Baron. You wait for it to expire. You allow your jungler to have that advantage. You need to zone out the other junglers, show them respect. And because they allow Shorter Ace to get that full combo off, he has the Q already down, body slams in, pops the Q, smites it away. They gave away their advantage. If you're doing the Baron, you need to control it and extend that advantage by denying the other jungler access, by stopping them from having those combos. So not a great job there by DT to secure that, and Shorter Ace capitalizes.
The arrow lands onto Shorter Ace as Massacre is going to zone him away. Not enough mana, but here comes Charong as he gets into the back line. It's front line versus front line. Charong is going to drop, but so too is Shorter Ace, as it looks like, and a huge Gnar is going to keep Tae3 Soju alive, but he is already committed to giving up his life. Acadian will shut him down. 2-for-1 Dream Team.
2-for-1, and that is with the Baron. So now they are going to have those recalls, allows them to get back and get into position. So thankfully for them, it's going to be pretty helpful. But DT takes the team fight. They're pushing down mid lane. Don't think they can really do too much more than that, though.
Yeah, looks like Poppers was looking for a snipe. Not quite able to find a teleport. Onto a minion is going to bring a fresh full health Beacon Wolf. They're actually going to be able to break this inhib turret against a Baron up Eanix.
Yeah, they're just able to tank it up at the end there, and Eanix kind of just ran out of gas. They did not have the pieces in play to actually wave clear and hold off long enough. So here comes the TP, though. They're looking to fight.
They certainly are. Slow is instantly going to find Soju. Flashes Poppers, finds a binding onto Massacre. But there's no follow-up. The rest of his team is too far away.
Yeah, and he already used all his spells, so when he missed the Flash W, what do you then execute with, right? Sure, he hits the chain, but he has no more spells left. He already used the Q on the Karma. That was his target, but he goes wide, and Unfortunately, that does mean Eanix is going to be able to grab that mid lane turret. They are closing the gap a little bit, but still down over 8,000 gold.
Yeah, 27 minutes in, they take their first turret of the game. Here's that play once again as Shorter Race is engaged on.
Yeah, the Ash arrow does connect, but it's on the full tank Gragas, so not that big of a deal. Not really sure what Shorter Ace was doing with that ultimate, honestly. He just kind of tossed out a one-man ultimate onto the Maokai. I really think it would have been better to just disengage the team off of himself, knock away the other members, allow his team to have the kind of 5v1 on the Maokai. Instead, he just kind of knocks the Maokai further into his team, and sure, he dies, but he gives up his own life. The Gnar can't get out of there either, so pretty poor ultimate by Shorter Race, I have to say. I really would have preferred to see him disengage the Ashe, disengage that Victor, and allow themselves to get kind of a free kill on the Maokai.
Yeah, he has been having a little bit of difficulty this game. We'll have to see if he can't pull it together, though he did manage to get the Baron steal, so...
Yeah, that was huge.
Still some bright spots for him. Now Infernal Drake is spawning 28 minutes in. Securing this would be the third dragon for Dream Team and leave enough time for yet another dragon afterwards. Looks like it will be another Mountain Drake just on the side of the pit there. So Dream Team controlling the dragons once again, controlling those neutral objectives. And while the first Baron was stolen, seems like we might see something similar to Game 1 where they look for a second Baron before they can close the game out.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't get the first one, so
yeah.
They have to probably try to go back to that. But with the mid lane and him open, DT's definitely going to look to push in here, see if they can extend their advantages. They're pinging out LeBlanc, who is in position to flank, and with LeBlanc out of there, they can just move straight in and try to take out this hip.
Culling is going to do a bit of initial damage, but it's not quite enough to zone the rest of Dream Team away. Acadian's down to half, but he's nice and tanky on that Graves. And the inhib is engaged upon and cleared. Looks like they might try to pick off Jerome here with a lot of crowd control. Arrow tries to force the disengage. Oh, Soju not able to find anyone against the wall, and Dream Team are able to get the inhib and get out.
Yeah, swing and a miss on that Gnar ult, and pretty big deal. Yeah, they get the flash from Jerome, but more than willing to trade that up for an inhib, which is going to give them pressure in the mid lane, allow them to have an easier time to hopefully collect this Baron, and it's probably going to require another miracle here from Eanix to actually stop them when it does come up. But Popper's OP try to chase down Chirong in the mid lane and whiffs on a couple of chains there, not able to connect. So the Maokai just strolls on away.
Yeah, we're now hitting the 30-minute mark. Baron's up in 1 minute. Dream Team, they've had control of this game for quite a long time. Some early lane pressure, some early rotations and dives really set them up for success. And they've been pressing their advantage this entire time. The only time we've seen them sort of falter in this game was when that Baron was stolen. But they immediately found a fight not a minute later to make up for it.
Yeah, they've done fantastic in this game. That really was the only slip, as you said. And although it was one that really has postponed the game, they still have this very big lead, nearly 10K. They have the easier to execute team comp, very solid, straight up 5v5 stuff. And, Popper's OP, it's very hard to team fight into this kind of composition. If you just hop in there, Maokai presses W, guess what? You're dead.
Not so much the Poppers can do. He did go for the Rabadons second after Morello, so not even going for the Zonias. Golden Cube avoided it as well, so.
I think pretty standard stuff. You can't afford to itemize defensively like that on LeBlanc, unless you're super, super ahead and just have the damage to zero them out anyway, because you must be able to pop one of these squishies. If you can instantly delete the Ashe, that's a way back into the game.
Yeah, but that is the knife's edge that Poppers is trying to run. He has been unsuccessful so far as Dream Team are now looking for the Baron buff.
Yeah.
This time they're taking their time with it, going to try to clear out the vision. Shorter Race.
Papa Chow getting taken down, though.
Papa Chow actually died on the far side. Tidal Wave forces it out, and Dream Team waited a little bit too long in the pit. Eanix chase back forward, and Dream Team are forced to back away. An arrow finds Poppers. He doesn't have anything to distort to. Flash over the wall as Acadian looks to shut him down. The laser, isn't quite enough to pop it. Massacre takes some punishment. These guys are fighting over the wall, but Dream Team are still fine.
Yeah, pretty crazy team fight. We did actually see Papa Chow got caught up by that LeBlanc. He's chunked low and then impactful with a beautiful culling to take him out. But, both teams trying to make some aggressive moves here. GT a little bit sloppy there. Their support gets taken out. And then Acadian tries to go for the assassination on Poppers. Flashes over, misses the Q, misses the ult. The LeBlanc gets out alive. So they definitely some nerves, some excitement going on here. They need to stay calm. They need to continue to push towards their goal, and they have to get right back to the Baron, control the vision, and do it again, but this time a little bit more cleanly.
Yeah, now it looks like with teleport, Chirong is going to split down towards that bottom lane, catch a few minions for himself. Oh, that wave clear. He's still got that void buff for another 6 minutes. So very strong as the super minions continue to press down towards that mid lane. The rest of Dream Team are grouped up near the Baron. I guess we know what they've got their eyes on.
Yeah, they really want to pick up this Baron. Victor now so strong. We have the Ashe at 3 items. Victor has his Abyssal, his perfect Hex Core, the Rylai's, as well as another large rod on top of that, and he is going to be frightening. Once you do have the movement speed upgraded with the perfect core for your ultimate moves more quickly. It also slows them with the Rylai's, allowing it to really stick onto these characters, and it makes Victor even more frightening.
Very high damage. Seems like Eanix right now can't quite match it.
Yeah. Acadian as well, going very aggressive with his build, and he's putting out huge damage. They're straight onto the Baron, and they may be able to just take us out.
Oh, the arrow finds Shorter Ace. He goes over the wall, but it's too late. Baron finally secured by Dream Team. Poppers looks to destroy Massacre, but he is unsuccessful. Distortion gets him back out, but Chirong catches on to Poppers. That's one down. Looks like Soju is in the back line doing some damage, but he's forced to flash away. Chirong at low health is now recently re-enabled. Peekenwolf zoning away with Acadian, as it looks like Dream Team are going to try to clean up a few of these kills. Oh, but this is such a scary fight. Chirong is freshly recalled and teleported in. He's got a good teleport and home guard. They're able to drop Shorter Ace. Looks like Soju might be caught. There's the snare. There's the knock-up. That's 3. Make that 4 members of Eanix dead.
Yeah, and they have the Baron. They're going to go straight up the middle with the super minions here and look to end. As there's 15 seconds on Popper, but the rest of the crew is 30 to 40 seconds. Impactful, Shorter Ace, and Soju are going to be out of there, and LeBlanc cannot solo defend this. LeBlanc and Nami are going to have almost no chance. This is a huge wave. This should be the game for DT, and a clean 2-0.
Yeah, this is Nexus turret number 1 going down. Nexus number 2 going to follow, and Dream Team defeat Eanix in their first game of the NACS Summer Split 2-0. Wow, that was pretty impressive stuff.
They played great. I mean, they got a huge early advantage. We really saw the strength of their macro play. That's what shined through to me. Yes, they got early kills. That's great, but they were able to capitalize on that. They take all the objectives off the map. They're picking up turrets. They're extending their gold lead, pushing up vision. They're basically doing everything right. This looked like a very, very good team. Pretty impressed with that. I also have to say that they did well to not let the Stolen Baron phase them.
Yeah.
They kept playing to their win conditions, stayed calm, were able to win their team fights, and you know, it's definitely a really good performance from them, especially when you consider they had a couple of losing lanes, in my opinion, and they were still able to come out not only in the laning phase on top, but in the team fights, they're really able to excel, since that's what they were building for.
It was time and time again. They were so confident with their play. Like, hey, the enemy team has Baron, but we still have a significantly larger number of kills. We'll just clear the minion wave and then kill the enemy team. And it worked out so well for them. So Dream Team showing some very encouraging things in their first set. Yeah,
and Eanix, you know, they're going to have some work to do. They definitely showed some signs of you know, some bright spots, if you will, basically. You know, great Baron steal from Shorter Ace, but their team fighting looked pretty shaky. I have to say that they did not capitalize on their lanes as well as they should have, in my opinion. You know, setting themselves pretty far behind, just even from how much damage they took on the Gromp in that dual lane. I really do feel that Nami Lucian should win that lane pretty heavily even. And yes, the Karma and the Ashe have good poke, but they took so much damage to the Gromp, they walk in the lane, get poked even more, and then they're so low on HP that they basically can't contest a lane in which they probably should have won. So it was one of those situations where, you know, little things can make a huge difference. And even just the team did not look like it was on the same page. With Shorter Ace, we didn't see really very many good ultimates to kind of, you know, split people up. And when people were going for ultimates, it always seemed like kind of people were on different pages and stuff. You know, Nar going in to try to take someone out. Shorter Ace trying to do the same, but it was never really coordinated. It was never at the same time.
Wasn't at the same page. And, you know, to talk a little bit more about that bot lane, the fact that not only did we see Dream Team's Ashe and Karma do really well in a lane that was very difficult. Same thing with the Gnar into Maokai. That was,
Yeah.
we expected that to be a difficult matchup, but that still ended up working out rather well. Now, we do have a replay of that last game-ending fight, so let's take a look at that.
Yeah, and this is a big one, and they do at least try to delay the Gragas here. Ashe does shoot out that arrow to zone him out, and it's actually Ashe that also picks up the Baron here. And then we saw Poppers goes in, tries to assassinate that Ashe, gets him down very, very low, not able to take him out. And at that point, LeBlanc is taken out, he's dead, and they're just getting run over by this team with a massive gold lead and a massive item advantage. They keep them in play. Nice recall from Maokai, allows him to TP in with home guards back at full HP, so making use of the Baron and Power recall, and this allows them to go for the cleanup. It's just, you know, shooting fish in a barrel. They're able to chase it down one at a time. Not much that Eanix could do at that point, and they had to go for the steal, though. It was a desperation move. Shorterace not able to come up big twice in a row, but you certainly cannot blame him for that one, as it was a very tough steal.
Yeah, impactful. You saw in that last fight, just got completely destroyed. Maokai got to pick and choose his targets, as you mentioned, like shooting fish in a barrel. So Eanix, they still showed us some pretty impressive stuff. But in fact, to talk a little bit more about that win, we are joined by Dream Team's Pekin Wolf. Pekin Wolf, congratulations on the 2-0 start to the series.
Thank you very much.
I say series, in fact, split. So that's your last game for tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that game. I mean, you guys looked like you were in control for pretty much the entire time, except for that one little Baron steal we saw.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the second game we were in control pretty much the entire time. Their team comp was much harder to pull off. Like, once LeBlanc wasn't able to get a lead, like, she was just wave clearing the mid the entire game, and that's pretty much the only impact that she had. And then we just rotated around, and I think that our macro play is a lot stronger. And overall, I think we maybe could have ended faster, but we just played really well overall.
Yeah, you really did. And before the game, we actually got to hear you talking about what you bring to the team. And what you said in that was you bring a lot of control and a lot of sort of patience to the team. Obviously, we got to see that in that match. Do you still feel that's true?
Yeah, I mean, I try to, of course, win my lane, but inside hard matchups or counterpick matchups, normally I can hold my own or even get a small CS advantage, which is actually super important. And I am also working on probably making a few better plays, like playing more aggressive, but my passive play style is pretty good right now.
So how do you feel about, you know, the mage updates? Obviously, you know, there were a lot of changes. You know, Swain, we have Victor, who's pretty popular, Vladimir as well. There's some other mages that have, you know, kind of not really been showcased as much. But, you know, do you think there's possibilities to see some of those other mages that did get updates, like, you know, Vel'Koz even getting some pretty big buffs this patch?
I haven't played much of actually any of those because they're normally banned in solo queue. I just ban them because I don't want to pick them up because I figure they're actually going to get nerfed.
Okay.
But I think Vladimir is stronger than Swain right now, especially since Swain was, I think, nerfed on 611 and Vlad wasn't nerfed at all. But other than that, I might try out Vel'Koz, but I mean, he can have some really bad matchups, so he'd only be like picked on purple side where you have last pick.
Certainly. How do you feel about Rift Herald right now? You know, in the current meta, we're seeing some teams that are really highly prioritizing them. You know, in LCS, like teams like Echo Fox and stuff are pretty much going for it like every single game. Some other teams like Apex as well that really, really prioritize it, and then others seem to just avoid it altogether. You know, where do you stand on it? Where do you think it fits in?
For Rift Herald, I mean, as a mid laner, it's kind of hard to say because I would rarely get the buff in the first place.
You just gotta take it. You just gotta get that zone out the Maokai, tell him to go TP somewhere and pick that up.
I think Rift Herald, it is strong inside certain comps, but inside a lot of times it's not even worth giving up maybe a tower dragons if it's an important dragon. Obviously, I think it's probably better than an air dragon, but it's not that important unless maybe it's on someone that can really snowball early, like a good jungler or a top laner that has really good pushing pressure. Otherwise, it's not really that thing to contest for if you might lose early because of it.
So one final question for you, Pekin Wolf. Obviously, this is a very competitive split of the NA Challengers Series. Are there any teams you're looking forward to facing?
If Apex are still going to be using Chris, I mean, I'm going to be going against an old teammate, so I'll say that probably them.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to your performance. Pekin Wolf, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Now we're going to jump into the tail end of Game 1 between Nova and Apex Pride. And right now, Nova is in the lead with 6,000 gold against Apex, the 10-man roster that we expected to be doing rather well. So let's take stock of this. It's 44 minutes in. As you can see, Nova on the blue side, about 7,000 gold, 8,000 gold as we're getting there. Slight kill lead, but they have got a lot of turrets. In answer, though, it looks like Team Apex have got pretty healthy. Oh no, those aren't dragons. Those are turrets. Apex are the ones with the dragons.
Yeah, Apex with quite a few dragons and the Alawi coming out. That is cool, and we have a pretty aggressive build on him as well. But we're looking for the engage around the Baron. Nami not able to find anything with that ult though.
Oh, it looks like we're starting to see some action. Ace in the hole is going to drop. It looks like Rikara will drop as Chris is able to get it. Speak of old teammates, he's able to make something happen. And currently 5 versus 4. Diamond Prox chases forward with Chris. The Fizz Rek'Sai kited out. Vladimir doing what he can. A Blazed Olive doesn't quite have enough damage with the Hemo Plague. And right now there is so much damage being traded back and forth, but no kills between the two teams. Roar is taking some damage as he's kiting it out in the back. Finally, a Blazed Olive is able to drop Shifter, and he kites forward. He's going to get a double kill. Roar is going to drop as well, and suddenly that's 3 kills. We came in at the right time.
Yeah, and Vlad is going to come up huge in that fight. You cannot underestimate him, but we do have a quick pause there, so we are going to have to work that out. But, geez, Vladimir, it's one of those things where if you let him hang around too long in a fight, he does so much damage, has such high sustain, and he got in there, got very low, but was able to get a lot of health back with the ultimate, with his empowered Qs as well. So pretty nice play there from him, and it's one of those things, man. The longer the fight goes, you got to be thinking about that Vladimir. If you can't take him out early,
he just has so much health. And Alawi, the fact we saw her briefly a little bit, and she did actually manage to get a trial onto Chris's Fizz that we saw in that fight. So we talked about 6-11, sort of tweaking the top lane a little bit, making some new people viable. But
Alawi also got some buffs, and did have a Trinity Force there, so we did it.
Yeah,
Alawi's in a game.
We did it.
But pretty excited to see that, actually. And he had a very aggressive build, so I have to imagine lane was going pretty well for him with Trinity Force. We have Black Cleaver. He had a Death Dance, I believe, or no Black Cleaver. I think it was just a Death Dance, a Trinity Force, and I can't even remember what his other item was, but
might have been a Randuin's. Oh, it was Sterix.
It was Sterix, yeah. It was Sterix plus Spirit Visage. So a very aggressive build, and when you do get ahead on Alawi, the amount of self-healing you actually have with those tentacles is pretty ridiculous, especially when you have that combined, the Death Dance plus Spirit Visage, you have increased healing as well as healing on your abilities, and then you have massive sustain coming in from your ultimate. So if you're able to actually get in there and get kind of in the mix of the fight, it can be very hard to take that down. So that in combination with Vlad, you have some very tanky targets there. Nami healing as well can be pretty frustrating to deal with.
And that's what we just saw, fighting at the blue buff in the chokes in that jungle. Now, Nova actually managed to take a lead at a 39-minute dragon fight with that Alawi Vlad AoE combo. They did fight in that jungle once again, so we'll look to see if they can continue sort of doing this. But Apex, they were looking rather strong, sort of positioning for that fight. From what we understand, they were fighting over that Baron sort of back and forth for the past few minutes. That's not exactly the right move. When you're fighting around Baron, you don't want to get into a tight AoE choke point.
Yeah, it's certainly something that can happen, though, as you do feel that you have the advantage at the start of a fight. Teams are going to retreat back into those jungle corridors, so it's something you have to definitely be aware of and thinking about as far as who fights better in these confined spaces, because there's certain champions that really do excel. The AoE champions, like an Alawi, like a Vladimir, that can control these areas pretty heavily. And if you get stacked up, you can really get punished, by the Hemo Plague, by the Alawi ultimate. All these AoE abilities coming down can be very frightening, and it's easy to kind of underestimate their impact. But it's looking like we are back into game. It was a 3-for-0 there for the blue team as they are pushing
Nova.
up.
Yeah, and they're currently looking to break an inhibitor right now, and seems like they are going to. Don't quite have a lot of minions, as it's currently 4 versus 2. Chris is there. He's going to have some support from a defensive Diamond Prox in the bottom lane, but it looks like Nova are going to look to end the game right now. Chris is joined by Diamond Prox. There's going to be a knock-up on the Trance. Nexus turret number 1 goes down. The trial lands, but they're just trying to burn through the Nexus turrets. Nexus turret number 2 is going to go down. They're on the Nexus. Do they have enough damage? A Blaze Olive? It does indeed, and game number 1 goes to Nova. Woo!
Well,
we
it was short but sweet. We got in there for the important part.
We got all the important parts of that game. Yeah.
Yep.
The Baron, the AoE,
the end of the game. That's
Vladimir
what matters.
Alawi. Yep. They were tanky enough in order to get onto those Nexus turrets and burn through them with or without the minions.
Yeah.
And then get onto the Nexus itself. So
I'm actually pretty sad that I didn't get to see the Alawi game because I think I've never seen Alawi in competitive. So that's pretty cool. And I hopefully we'll get another chance to actually maybe see it in the next game. But yeah, it's got to feel good picking up a pretty solid win like that.
Yeah, we really are looking forward to seeing if Nova's going to be able to do that once again and secure a second win in this series. Obviously, the first one they take over Apex, who are somewhat expected to be the favorites. The big 3 that most people were talking about coming into Challenger this split was Team Liquid Academy, was Apex Pride, and was Cloud9 Challenger. So before we get into this next game, we're actually going to go ahead and have to take a quick break. This is our last game of the night coming up soon between Apex Pride and Nova. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Race is here, though.
There's a huge bubble followed up. First blood as they're able to drop impactful. Charong, oh man, he's locked against the wall. Ignited,
Shorter Race missed
down,
the Q.
But Shorter Ace dies to Pekin Wolf. There's a tidal wave as there goes a lot of damage. K3 Soju tries to stun Charong, who gets revenge. Shorter Ace is looking for the cast. He's found a lot of damage on the Massacre. There's going to be some more follow-up, but Pekin Wolf manages to get another kill. A kill finally goes the way of Eanix. Baron finally secured by Dream Team. Poppers looks to destroy Massacre, but he is unsuccessful. Distortion gets him back out, but Charong catches on the Poppers.